When I saw this piece of news that the UK lawyers for Israel quote, were delighted that the hospital removed artwork of Palestinian children, I was appalled at how we Palestinians are attacked in every aspect of our lives. It was all over the news, and I was even having a conversation with my daughters about this, and they were infuriated because they are artists themselves, and they found it a humiliating experience. They asked me, "Mom, why are they targeting art pieces?" That this group of lawyers couldn't stand to see our children being humanized. They are humans, that they're displaying their artwork in other countries. They're afraid maybe that this artwork might make people outside sympathize with our children and their stories. So I think it was a very pathetic and shameful act. We have to talk about the mainstream media. The Palestinian narrative is not given a chance to be told or heard. So art and self-expression is very important for our children because it gives them a voice out there. And with the tight blockades and military attacks and all of these harsh living conditions, our children resort to art to tell their stories to the world and to express their fears also and their hopes as well. So art is very important for our children. When they produce these art pieces and see them displayed outside of Gaza and having people praise them, it makes our children feel valued and heard. So when you ask any child here to draw a piece of art, the first thing that they draw is the Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, because this mosque is in our blood. It's our Palestinian heritage. I think we have to set the facts straight that this mosque, Al Aqsa Mosque, the whole 36 acres of this land is an occupied land. East Jerusalem was annexed illegally in 1967. So the Israelis don't want the world to know this. This is an attempt to erase also everything that is Palestinians. This picture that this child painted reminds them and reminds the world that Israel stole this place. Another fact I think that maybe bothered them about this picture is that the fact that the kids who draw these pictures are refugees from Gaza. So their artwork also highlights the key issue of the Palestinian refugees and the right of return. And this does not serve the Zionist propaganda. They want to just erase anything that Palestinian. For them, our very existence intimidates them, and our artwork humanizes us as Palestinians, and this does not serve their purposes. They want us to be portrayed as we are in the media, terrorists, people throwing rocks. This is the picture that they have in mind, and that's why they didn't like this piece of artwork. And I also think it comes as part of the genocide that Israel is committing against Palestinians, which comes at all levels. So we have the daily killings, demolitions, evictions, land theft, burning of trees, and all of that. And then we have a different level, which is a cultural genocide, where they steal our food and they attack our art. They don't want the word Palestinian to be heard in the Western world. On the ground, life in Gaza for children has been very horrible. They have had to endure many things which other children around the world have not had to. Gaza's population is nearing 2.2 million people. 50% of this population is children. 80% of these children suffer from emotional distress. I mean, my own children were born 2005. They're triplets, and they have witnessed every major escalation on Gaza. Children here in Gaza have had to endure losing one parent, both parents, a sibling, or even in the last attack, a whole family was wiped out and there was one survivor. And imagine this child growing up on his own. And this actually happened to one of my personal friends who lives just down the street from me, where she was killed when their house was shelled. She was killed along with her husband and two of her children, and one of them survived, who was 9 years old 2 years ago. So just imagine what this child has to go through with for the rest of his life. So our children are living in a perpetual state of fear. They're unable to concentrate in schools. They don't sleep peacefully. After the 2014 war, I think it was one of the most horrible times for many children and for my children also, because it lasted for 51 days. and it wasn't very easy to erase from their minds. And I don't think it can ever be erased, actually. My kids kept having nightmares, fits of, crying, and one of my daughters was constantly imagining that someone was going to die, someone was going to get killed. She actually did lose a friend, a personal friend, in the May 2021 attack. Also, besides the military attacks, living under the siege itself is a big struggle for them. I mean, just the feeling of entrapment on this piece of land, having to grapple with things like not being able to visit their own country. I mean, this has been a very huge dilemma for my children when they were growing up. They would keep asking me, "Why can't we visit Jerusalem? Why can't we go to visit our own country?" And as a parent, they expect you to have answers for these questions. But we had to give them, the harsh facts that we can't go visit Jerusalem while someone from any other country can be given a visa and visit my country. I can't. I am just being caged up on this piece of land. We constantly tell our children that we are powerful people. We can't succumb to these massacres, to the siege, and that times will change. So with the limited means that we have here in Gaza, we try to find our coping mechanisms. And I like to say that art is one of these coping mechanisms. I discovered this when with my own children during the last attack, which was in May 2021. They had their notebooks with them the whole time, and they spent the whole days painting and drawing. I realized that art really helped them, to cope with the circumstances they were living under, and it helped them to heal. So I just let them be, and I encouraged them, and they carried this with them after the war. And actually, at any time that they feel stressed, I find them just painting and drawing, and their bedroom has actually turned into a mini art studio. It helped them heal in so many ways. I also, after the 2014 war, which was very hard for them, I took them to take horseback riding lessons. I think this changed their lives because connecting with the animals, the horses, helped them also heal. So these are my ways of trying to find, a way to help them cope. I see many of my friends' children also doing this, painting and drawing, and it really helps them heal in so many ways. As people from Gaza, we're often asked by people from outside, who stand in solidarity with the Palestinians, what can we do to help you, to raise your voices? One of the things that people outside can do is they could stand with our cause by highlighting the artwork of our children. I mean, if we're speaking in this context of art, because it makes our children feel very worthy, and it makes them feel heard. It inspires them and gives them hope when they see other people standing with them and championing their work, because they constantly have this feeling that they're isolated. They're living in a part of the world where nobody knows anything about them, where they're just trapped here and nothing matters. Nobody cares about them. So I think it really uplifts them and inspires them when they see other people championing their artwork. I strongly encourage anybody, institutions, art exhibitions, to exhibit Palestinians' artwork. And I think they will be very amazed and surprised at the talents that they will find. They can do this by working with schools, like they did with the art pieces that were at the hospital, the UNRWA schools, and they will find that our children have a lot to say to the outside world through their artwork. And I think they will see that they produce exceptional pieces. And I have seen this with my own children, actually. The pieces that they draw reflects the ideas that they have in their heads, the deep emotions that they have towards what is happening around them. Their artwork in itself will tell many stories. I'm Rana Shubair. I'm a Palestinian mother from Gaza. I'm an author, writer, and I work in the field of English language testing and training. I've practically lived here all my life. Lived 5 years in the States, part of my childhood, while my dad was pursuing his PhD studies. But all of my adult life, I've lived here in Gaza. Please support Palestine Deep Dive. It's an independent space where Palestinians can articulate their own discourse freely.